Hey, Texas Values friends, Jonathan Sines here. This special segment of the Texas Values Report. We're at SoConCon, the Social Conservative Conference put on by my good friends, Family Policy Alliance. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about this event in just a second. But we're on site in Indianapolis, Indiana. But don't worry. My team, the rest of them, are at the Texas Capitol because the Texas Special Session started this week, and we're going to talk a little bit of detail about that as well. Huge opportunities on the Texas Women's Privacy Act, also some pro-life bills, and we'll get into a little bit more of the detail on this conversation with our good friend Joseph Kohm, who is the Director of Policy for Family Policy Alliance. Joseph, welcome to our special segment here of your event.
So great to join you, Jonathan. And we're here from Radio Row at SoConCon for the first time ever.
Idea.
So thank you for having me, Jonathan.
Well, look, it's good to see you in person. And, you know, our organizations have worked together for many years. You've been in this role, it's been 3-4 years?
4 full years now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so tell and I know some of our listeners may know a little bit about Family Policy Alliance, but tell our viewers about the organization, and then I want to get into a little bit of discussion about the event that's happening this week.
Yeah, I'd love to. So Family Policy Alliance is a national Christian nonprofit ministry. We have national influence and starting to have a little bit of global influence too. We exist to see social conservative pro-family policy advanced throughout the country. We do it in a number of ways. I know we're going to talk about the Family Policy Council Alliance. There's about 40 of those around the country, and we work mainly with you to supporting you, really, as you guys go get that done. We also work through our Statesman Academy, which is happening this week as well. It's a training program for Christian legislators who want to learn more about their Christian worldview, how it applies to their work, and how to be effective legislators without ruining their lives at the same time. And so that combination of Statesman Academy alumni plus the state family policy councils, that's what enables us to have this combined arms attack, essentially, to get social conservative policy done in the states. And the proof is really in the pudding. So SoConCon is our week every year to convene these programs. Statesman Academy is going on. The FPC conference is going on. And SoConCon itself has become the nation's premier gathering of social conservative activists, influencers, legislators around the United States and even beginning internationally. So you have all that going on here at Indianapolis at the same time, lots of cross-pollination to get that social conservative, pro-family, God-honoring policy done year on year. So we're here at Radio Row, which is a new venture for SoConCon, and this is how we're able to talk like this, Jonathan. So that's what's going on.
No, look, it's a great opportunity. I mean, there's a lot of national organizations. I'm interviewing Tony Perkins later,
awesome.
right after it, so I can't keep you too long. No, and I'm excited about that, though, but you know, a lot of our groups are doing podcasts and things like this. You try to find different ways to get your message out there, different platforms, right? We started this podcast, gosh, I think it's been 7, if not 8 years. And it was really by necessity because we were having some technical issues with the radio station, and nothing negative about them. But we're like, oh, what if we did this? And what if we podcasted? And so we just, you know, kind of trial and error. But these opportunities allow us to meet people, have good conversations, but also to help get their message out there, right? The cross-pollinate, other ways you want to describe it. But those opportunities that are going to happen, you know, maybe once a year. We don't always see each other. And so, but Family Policy Alliance is the organization that Texas Values works with at a national level. We actually have a relationship with them, which came from Focus on the Family and James Dobson many years and took on different names. It was Focus on the Family Action and all this kind of stuff. And then you guys settled several years ago on the Family Policy Alliance name, the logo. It all looks real good.
I appreciate that. And you're right. We're trying to expand our reach. So we're doing a lot of policy work, mainly support work for you and convening work like this week. But we are also trying to market our successes better because the country and the world needs to know what groups like Texas Values are doing and succeeding at. And that, in turn, will drive more growth and more success. So if you want to find out more about this, you can find us at familypolicyalliance.com. Every state family policy council is listed there, so Texas Values is listed on our allies page. And we have a number of products, including I have my own podcast with a member of our team called House to Home. And we're all over social media. You can find us at family_policy on all the major platforms. So those are some of our newer ventures that we're getting into.
Well, and one new venture that y'all took on, or a merger, if you will, is Christians Engaged.
Yes.
Bunny Pound's good friend from Texas. Christians Engaged is a nonprofit organization that started in Texas under Bunny's leadership, but then came under the umbrella a year or so ago, and then Bunny now is in an official role with Family Policy Alliance.
Yes, she is. So Christians Engaged, we did merge with them, like you said. They're what we call our sister ministry. And their mission is to encourage Christians across the country to pray, vote, and engage. And that is exactly what we at FPA needed and what the FPCs have been blessed with, I think. Many of them are already so good at grassroots advocacy. Christians Engaged has been able to come along and support them with new products and new ideas. And they're just galvanizers, really, of grassroots movement. And we're seeing the tide begin to shift already from their influence in our nation, the way Bunny and her team are impacting young people, Christians and churches across the country. I think of Ben Quine on our team, his work with the churches and the church ambassador networks, just equipping pastors to in turn equip their congregations to be aware of what's going on in the country and how they can use their voice to get engaged, talk about these issues, and then ultimately vote our biblical values.
Yeah. No, it's pretty simple and straightforward, but essential. All right. Speaking of getting engaged, okay, the Texas legislature is meeting this week, and they started meeting on Monday. Our special session started, 30-day special session. We've got an opportunity to get some good stuff done. Pro-life bill, that's very key. Also, the Texas Women's Privacy Act gets another opportunity. And those bills had enough support. They just were killed in a committee by Republican Ken King in the Texas House. So we're trying to find a way to deal with that and have a different outcome. Let's talk, though, specifically about not just those topics, but how the important role that states play in the issues that we're in.
Yeah, particularly I'm thinking of that women's privacy bill. I mean, that's one of the new frontiers for making sure we protect our vulnerable citizens from ideologies that really are predatory. So Texas has been a leader, and you guys through Texas have been a leader in a lot of our campaigns to, push back at the most basic level. Yeah. We wrote the original Help Not Harm bill, protects kids from gender transition procedures. Texas was an early passer of that bill, and that's the starting point. That bill was just constitutionally given the stamp of approval by the Supreme Court last month in United States versus Skermetti. So now all 25 state Help Not Harm bills are good to go constitutionally. So FPA's position is this is a beachhead. This is a civil rights platform from which the pro-family FPC movement can stand on to do more good policy to protect our vulnerable from, frankly, LGBT ideology. And the women's privacy bill is an absolutely essential step in that. You've done Help Not Harm. The privacy laws are one of the essential policies to do after that to continue to protect us holistically from that, particularly our vulnerable girls that need it.
Well, there's no doubt. And, to have those Supreme Court decisions allows, and these are things that happen sometimes. You talk with legislators and they're wondering, that's going to get struck down. And the other side says it's going to be held unconstitutional. It's always something that enters into the equation. And so we always feel confident in the legislation we support that it will not be struck down. But it's so much better to be on the other side when you win. And so you can sort of put that to rest. And it allows legislators to have confidence in the type of work you do, the language you bring, and so on. But a big victory on the age verification issue. I almost forgot about that.
That was huge. I mean, you know about Texas being a leader.
Texas case.
Without the
Texas law.
Heroic Texas legislators, attorneys that argued that case. So the case was Free Speech Coalition versus Paxton. Free Speech Coalition is an advocacy group for the pornography industry. They challenged this law that requires pornography distributors online to protect their underage users by ensuring independent, third-party, secure and safe age verification procedures. Because right now, the average age of first exposure to pornography for children is between 7 and 13 years old. Wow. So we at FPA, spurred on by some other allies, we can't claim credit to have originated this, tried to push this law across the country. We're at 22 states with this, but Texas was an early state, almost the first.
And I think Terry Schilling's group, American Principles Project, was involved in that
Terry's been invaluable in his support, and so we finally got the Supreme Court to authorize that as well in Free Speech Coalition versus Paxton, and that wouldn't have happened without the courage of Texas. So now, for both of these policy initiatives, thanks to the Supreme Court and the work that people like Texas did to get us there, now there's no more excuses for these people that don't want to touch this controversial policy. Well, now we've got these Supreme Court opinions to wave around and say, look, we told you this was constitutional. We were right. There are no more excuses. Our kids need these protections, and Texas has led the way. It's going to continue to through what we're going to get done in this special session.
Well, and that's because you went to Regent University Law School, right? Your mother's a professor there. You were telling me that your dad, I think, graduated there.
I have an embarrassment of riches in my family, so I'm just trying to live up to it.
And I'm a big fan of Regent University because, to me, back in the day, that was the connection primarily with Jay Sekulow and, really one of the first lawyers to do the work that you and I do that inspired a lot of people, including myself.
Great religious liberty hero, and who he in turn would say he followed by inspiration of Pat Robertson, which, very great figure, interesting figure. People at Regent just thankful for his obedience to have followed God to create a place like Regent, which in turn is able to put out people like those in our movement. There are multiple Regent law grads. There's other great Christian lawyers like you. We're doing this work because we have a grounded biblical worldview and a constitutional understanding and originalist mindset. That's what's able to get a lot of this done.
Well, and look, we'll engage in court cases. We'll work together with our fellow state groups, sometimes directly with Family Policy Alliance to put briefs together. We'll see more of that. There's some big cases that are going to be in the Supreme Court cycle for this next round, which starts September, October. They'll be doing oral arguments. There's going to be a Save Women's Sports.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest
issue.
one we should mention now. The case is called Little v. Hecox. It comes out of Idaho, which is appropriate because Idaho is one of the originators for the Save Girls Sports movement. Again, FPA was there almost from the beginning to help push that to 26 states across the country. So that will be the next big Supreme Court case to look forward to. Probably September, October, November, we'll hear oral arguments for that. But now that we have Skermeti saying that transgender identities are not an immutable characteristic by constitutional standards, there's no reason it should violate any kind of equal protection or constitutional scrutiny. So all that to say, as policy drafters, Jonathan, we know we may not be the litigators at the front, but the litigators at the front have to be equipped by us through good drafting at the origins of these laws. Like, we can't afford to bring a law that we don't think is going to pass constitutional scrutiny. And fortunately, so far we're being vindicated.
And a lot of times you and I are in the position where we're one of the few lawyers that folks from our side actually talk to. The other side seems to have a lot of lawyers just at their disposal stacked up. Now, those numbers are growing with events like this and our organizations having an opportunity to grow and bring more good people on, and more people see the value. And I think part of it is, they see that we're winning. They see that there's an opportunity to make a difference on these type of cases. But the lawmakers are putting their trust in us. Sometimes I'm the only lawyer that testifies on our side, and that's what I do, right? So it's not necessarily but I realize that I better know my stuff, right? And we have a professional approach to advocacy. I better call somebody who does, like Jonathan Mitchell, whoever I need to get it done. But I do think this is a lot of deference that the Supreme Court is showing to the states, which plays right into our hand.
I mean, we're all pretty much federalists here, which just simply means that states should be the laboratory of democracy, or laboratories of democracy for our country. Let the will of the people be expressed within their states. If they do it right, we try to shepherd that and have the influence that we can in a constitutional way. The state's going to, the court is going to defer to you if it comes out in a constitutionally sound way. Unfortunately, that's what's happening. But what you say about lawyers is so true. A few times testifying for the age verification bill, I've sat down across as the lawyer testifying in favor of the bill, across from the lawyer for Free Speech Coalition who ended up arguing that case before the court. So it's just a reminder that I didn't deserve anything to get there. My friends helped me. We had a great bill. I had the easy job. But the point is, these are the serious people on both sides of this aisle, and every victory matters for that reason. These are not softballs. These are not easy pitches. We're hitting home runs, but we're doing it against difficult circumstances.
Speaking of home runs, we're going to be in a baseball game later. What's your favorite sport?
I love baseball, but I'm a New Yorker, so I'm sorry. I'm a Yankees fan.
What are you sorry about?
First strike
my
against
Astros.
me.
Every time my Astros have played the Yankees lately, particularly in the playoffs, we've prevailed. I'm just saying. But you know what? The other day I was watching that clip. It's so fun. From Game 7 with Aaron Boone, where he hits the home run. The backstory is so cool, though. His brother was in the broadcast booth, Brett Boone, and Aaron was a good player, but I think he wasn't seen like maybe as good as some of the other Boone players, the dad, the grandfather, the brother, or whatever. And so I love some of those documentaries about that, and it just, the guy was not playing well that entire series, and I'm not picking on him. It's just a reality. But all you can do is hit one home run, and you're the hero.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, looking back on it, I was a little kid watching this. My dad let me stay up late to watch it. It was a big deal. which, good parents do that, right? Big games, let your kids stay up late. So I remember watching it live and just thinking of all the people. I mean, that Yankees roster had 5 or 6 Hall of Famers. So if you had pegged me to pick a player to be clutch in that moment, it would not have been Aaron Boone. But look where he is all these years later, managing us to success.
And he was an all-star before that. I mean, he had some good seasons, but just to be able to come off the bench like that, and I think the documentary shows he actually came in and pinch ran.
Yeah.
He was a pinch runner. I forget who the player was, and so then he knew, okay, I may be coming up to bat. But I watched that game. It was, and I wasn't necessarily a Yankees or a Red Sox fan. I was a big baseball fan. I took a baseball road trip after I graduated from undergrad all the way to Texas. I went to Yankee Stadium. I went to day game, went to Fenway, and I think we saw Pedro Martinez pitch way back. He was the pitcher in that game that they lost to the Yankees, too, with Aaron Boone. But then went to Camden Yards in Baltimore, Turner Field. We went to Detroit, the old Tiger Stadium. Anyway, we'll relive some baseball memories at the game tonight that we're going.
Just shows we know how to have fun at SoConCon, too, going to the baseball game tonight.
There's a lot you can learn about the law when you know a little bit about baseball. Tell us about the website for your organization so people can check you out.
Yes, thank you. So it's FamilyPolicyAlliance.com. If you want to find all the state family policy councils, it's FamilyPolicyAlliance.com/allies. We're also all over social media, every major platform. Our tagline is @family_policy. And there you can find all of our analysis, news stories, plus links to our podcast. So our CEO, Craig DeRoche, has the SoCon report. And then my colleague, Grace Youngson, and I have House to Home, which is they're all available on all major podcast platforms. If you search for it, you can also find the links on our website or on social media. Both weekly podcasts where we try to keep our supporters informed and encouraged.
Well, great. Joseph Kohm, Director of Public Policy for Family Policy Alliance. I couldn't say family. I couldn't say Texas earlier. I'm talking too fast. Okay, that's the problem. I need to slow down, take my time. Anyway, this guy has been our guest today on the Texas Values Report. Thanks, Joseph.
Thanks for having me, Jonathan. What a pleasure.
That wraps it.